Hi, everybody. Good morning. This is Cosmic Wisdom Sacred Earth. My name is Mari Mendoza, and this episode is all about joy and creativity. So, if this is your first time joining, I am an energy healer. I've been doing energy work and working with shamanic energy and quantum healing for many, many years, 30 plus years. I stepped into this time zone as a very wounded person and needed a lot of healing, had a lot of trauma. And the doors opened when I finally surrendered and needed help. And my path unfolded through miraculous ways. And so I want to talk today about joy and creativity because I'm also an artist and I do visionary art. I have for many years played around with art. I was an illustrator. I went to art school. Um, I've done wall finishing and murals and beautiful commissions for people. And so I've gone in and out of my creativity and my artwork. But today I want to discuss creativity and joy and art and how we perceive creativity isn't just painting or music. It's a completely different energy. It's something that's deep within us, and we are all creative beings. And so that's what I want to really talk about today, because on my journey, I have been navigating this planet for some decades. And, I started out remembering as a child tremendous amount of joy and light and sunshine. And the people around me weren't necessarily vibing at that moment in that space. And I realized much later and learned much later that I was very much an empath and could sense and feel everything around me. And however that came forward, I thought that possibly it was my job to change that. And so that was a journey that, through a lot of trauma and wounding, I discovered that it's not my job to change. It's not my job to change what other people are doing or how they are reacting to the world. I know now that it's an inside job, and that when I am healing, when I have worked on my own inner, self realization, as some spiritual circles call it, that's when I begin to bring that energy out into the world in a very different way. As an empath, many people say, I'm an empath and I feel everything. And so they just want to shut out the world. And that was my early experience. I sensed and knew a lot more than I really wanted to. And nobody taught me how to take care of that. No one said, this is how you deal with this. And so I figured it out in my own way, how to block it out. And through a long journey, some, many different trial and error ways of trying to figure that out, through massive addiction and nearly dying, I came to a point where I woke up and said, I'm so done with this. Please help. And the doors opened and miraculous things happened for me. So I really understand that many people now are trying to figure out how to be happy and joyful and creative in a moment where there is so much trauma and chaos on the planet. We are in a time like no other. Many of you that follow me, that I've been in circles with, we've talked about how incredible this time is, the energy that's coming in, how the creation codes are coming in, how they are impacting us, how we are moving up in vibration, and what we're actually doing here. And to be able to carry the energy of joy is really a tricky thing, until you finally know that it really comes from within inside, and that as you radiate your light. A beautiful elder one time, Ronna Herman, she was talking about Archangel Michael and the messages through Archangel Michael, a Metatron, and Melchizedek, all of the ascended masters and their journey into higher vibration and mastery and beyond, and the healing and the realization of coming into your own I am presence and stepping into your divine presence, your cosmic self, your soul energy. That's what we're after. I mean, many schools on the earth are talking about this ascension portal that we're in now, uplifting of the earth, Kali Yuga. I mean, we are in it, and so this is what we're moving forward with, is joy. So joy and creativity. That message has been coming forward over the last, like, I don't know, a month or so, even longer. That energy has been coming forward, and I have been feeling it in a contrasting way, where what is not joy, and noticing and recognizing that I am releasing those energies out of my life, or noticing the imprinting that came from earlier generations, my family of origin, the imprinting of life is hard, it, all of the different messages, the struggle that came from previous generations. We carry those imprints sometimes. And so, as I've been recognizing, as energy is coming up and I'm moving into something that feels very familiar and old and no longer me, then I recognize that this is a very old energy and clear it as quickly as possible. We are all clearing generational and world paradigm, thought form, patterning. We are clearing all of it so we can move into a higher vibration of joy and creativity. So, I want to talk about early in life. As I said, I went through some real periods of, oh gosh, in my teens, rebellion and just wanting to get away from that which was trying to control me, that which was oppressive or limiting. And um, early, I was 10 years old. I was doing ballet and also ice skating, and I went into ice skating more competitively, actually. But there was something about that at that moment that was a very dark time for me. I was wondering what I was doing on this planet, rebelling and just holding all this anger I didn't know what to do with, and acting out. But the skating was something that really, it helped me so much. And I didn't know at the time, but as I was reflecting this morning about it, that was a time where I was moving into something that I really, really enjoyed, something that was very close to my heart. And so the ice skating was, when I got on the ice and I was dancing and I was moving to the music, and I skated competitively. So basically, there were 3 or 4 of us on the ice in the morning at 5 a.m. And I did that 6 days a week. So when I was out there, really on my own, feeling like I was in the cosmos, skating and moving to music and expressing myself, I was in my greatest joy. And I thought about that because in the moments and times that I've had a lot of trauma or really difficult challenges to move through, my creativity was the thing that pulled me through. My art, my expression, expansion, music, my love to dance, all of those things pulled me through. And so, you know, um, in the last few years, with COVID, my spouse passed away early on 2020. My beloved spouse of 25 years passed away just suddenly, after a year of being ill, but it was a real sudden thing. And COVID came and shut down everything. And that was a powerful time for grieving and releasing and completing a huge chapter. And it was not easy because the world shut down and we were suddenly isolated. But what happened was that as I was in my studio every day, I started to paint. I started to bring out the drawings and stepped into the creative cycle and opened to that. And I laughed and cried and I danced in my studio and I painted and I had visions and translated those to canvas and had a glorious time, profound time, tremendous transformational time. And the art that came through carried me and made a new story for my life. And so, what I know about the the energy of an empath, the energy of those who are very sensitive, is that they're tapping into other people's stories, other people's energies, the world, the group think, the group mind, the world planetary thought body. And if you tap into that, you are sensing, because there's a tremendous amount of fear, anger, and frustration, hatred, deep, deep grief, because everyone is grieving and releasing something that we've all outgrown, whether we know it or not. But the primary energy there is that energy, and to be able to transform, how do you do that? To take on that energy and fight it. And that's what I thought in the early days, many, many years ago, in my adolescent and teens and into my early adult. I was very much fighting everything. As an artist, I'm going to fight, stand up for my rights. And, I was really throwing swords at a stone wall, and making myself even more crazy and sinking down into the depths of what I was focusing on so much. And I had no idea that I was doing that. And I went into heavy addiction. And when I finally got clean and sober, um, it it was like a light switch went on. Certainly, I had a lot of work. I did a lot of damage, and I had a lot of work to do, to heal and slowly bring my body back and heal the emotional and the mental and all of it. But I practiced daily. One of the biggest practices was the attitude of gratitude. And that was the beginning of opening to tremendous amount of appreciation and gratitude for life, day at a time. you know, um, that began to guide me and shift and turn my life around little by slow. That was my saying at the time, because I really wanted to get better fast and yesterday. And I had things to work through and walk through and transform. I had to heal my body. I had to change many habits. I had to change my food. I needed to repair my nervous system. I mean, there's so many things. We're in an energy now, after those primary years, after 1980, and then the year 2000, and the upgrade since then. If you've been in my circles, and some of my teachings, you've heard about this, the upgrade of frequency every year. I went and worked with Earthkeeper and went to ceremonial sites around the world to lay down the frequencies and place crystals in the healing chambers and in the waters in Lake Titicaca in Egypt and many places, to lay in a new foundation of crystal and light. So as I was raising my vibration, I was opening more and more to joy. And the things that I discovered that gave me the most joy were of being of service, but I had to learn that in a very profound way as well, because I thought obligation and codependency were, service, and that is not the case. All the while, I'm learning to thine own self be true, to tune in. So to tune in to this space here, I place my hand on my heart, and that is the energy of soul. I was talking the other day to someone who, we were in a medicine wheel class, and I was talking about how, we are the outer world. Yes, we live in a physical body. We are here transforming this physical body. And we sometimes get caught up in the density and the mind, the ego. But here in your heart, this is where your soul is. You see many paintings and sculptures around the world of master beings, angels, and various ones who have a hand on the heart, because they are holding the remembrance that the soul is here, present. And so now the teaching is all about coming into that presence and being in the divine moment and being in joy and being in creativity. So, the creative, to be in joyous creation, as I said, going through times of trauma and going through massive changes we're going through, to lay down and cry and sit in your room and lament about how terrible the world is and how horrible everyone out there is. This will not help us. And I did that for many years, wallowing in that energy. And what I discovered is that I had to get up and out and create from a different place, from the appreciation of being alive, the appreciation of beauty around me, from the expansiveness. And so I had to practice into it and step into, even when I was feeling terrible, stepping into a moment where I could change the channel and literally open to some small thing that brought me joy or gratitude, appreciation of some kind, being in nature. And, I, I know that for myself, I went one time, I don't know, I think it was year 2000, something like that. I went to a seminar, and there was a channeling by Archangel Michael, through a being, I can't remember their name. And Michael said to me, you must change your thoughts. You must redirect how you're thinking. And that was a very big job for me, because I was in the habit of lack and limitation. And as I started out with, I had a lot of programming from childhood about how hard the world is, how I can't do it. And as I started to do my inner work and clear those things and clear the trauma and regain and restore myself, little by little, all the way through, my art has helped me. And to step into joy, to be in those moments that bring tremendous expansion. So that, joyous creation, what does that actually mean? When you are in your passion, when you are in that place that just makes you come alive, whether it's hiking or riding a bicycle really fast down a hill, or jumping in the water, or being with a beautiful child and enjoying their laughter and their wisdom, whatever it is, or building a business, crunching numbers, if that is your joy and your passion, baking wonderful bread, cooking for people, being of service, wherever it is, taking care of animals. All of this is creation energy. If it's bringing you joy, you're creating beauty, you're creating connection. And our disconnection right now from the truth of who we are is really the problem. It's really the energy that, is coming forward to show us What are the questions that we're asking? What is joy? What is creation? Being shown what that is. The wag of a tail, the enthusiasm, the excitement of something fun that's happening, or just being present and witnessing silence and the moment of relief. Relief. Think about that. The moment where you come into absolute presence. Take a breath. And as you breathe, this sa, that's in a vasa breath. We hail to the divine. We take a moment, ave, and then smiles. That is a surrender into the soul energy, into allowing the soul to lead, allowing joy to come forward, allowing a moment of silence and stillness, allowing appreciation where you just let go for a moment of whatever it is that's knocking at the door, that is trying to get your attention or distract you. So to be able to turn to joy and open, joy for me is a very expansive energy. It is an energy of opening. I feel like back in the early days when I was skating, that when I was on the ice and I was skating, I was expanding and moving and opening my energy and sending out beauty through my expression of interpreting the music in so many ways, allowing that expression to radiate out. And I had no idea what I was doing. But people would say to me when they were watching me, they would say afterwards, wow, that was extraordinary. And when I was dancing, earlier days when I was dancing and doing ballet, I could feel the music and I could feel the energy moving through my body. And so today, there are times when things are happening and it feels like I'm in a lockdown. And I used to do this pretty regularly with my beloved. We'd get up and something was happening and we'd put on music and we'd say, okay, let's dance it out. Whether there was fear or tension, and we would just dance around the living room and just let ourselves go wild and move into the joy of it, move the energy out of the body. There were times when I danced that literally I would cry because energy was locked up in the tissues that was wanting to be released. So, what is joy? If you look around you, you can find many things. It is through your eyes and how you perceive. And so the beauty of something that is happening that maybe you judge is not right, but after the fact, something comes from that. So to be in the moment of appreciation that all is unfolding in divine ways that we really don't even know. Certainly when I first got sober, I thought my life was over. That my life was over, literally. I'm never going to have any fun anymore because I only knew what I knew at that moment. And as I released that and as I began to experience for the first time something different in my adult life, that was terribly frightening at that time. I felt like I was exposed out to the cosmos. I was just incredibly feeling alone and frightened and what's going to happen. And because I opened and because I began to practice simple gratitude every day, practice a vision of how my future could be and how I could live my life differently, that's when things began to change. And other people showed me, you can do this. So each and every one of us that does this, that expands in joy, lives in joy, and doesn't take on the energy of the other. You know, I had a light bulb moment again at another level not too long ago about being empathic. And somebody was telling me how empathic they were and how it just was so very hard because and what they were doing was taking on the other person's energy and taking on all this energy. Well, when you do that, you take on their karmic stuff, you take on all of their stuff. And or if you're trying to change how that person is because it's uncomfortable to you, then that's very codependent. I had to learn through that lens as well. But what happens is that you don't do any good for anyone. You don't help the other person. They stay in a victim. You don't show them or mentor how to do it differently. And you yourself are taken down by whatever it is that you've taken on. Like somebody handed you a big bag of bricks and you just go with it. So this was a strong lesson for me, and practice that I had to over much time, because as an energy healer, I'm a sound healer, an artist. I work with quantum energy. I'm a alchemical master. I do shamanic healing. Um, I had to learn that my energy body, my sensory body was picking up all kinds of cues, but I was learning quite early that all of what I had learned was not correct, and I had to relearn everything. And as I did, went into a new level of experience and a new level of understanding around so many things. And one of the most important, was that joy is very infectious, and that I when what I learned is I thought in earlier days that I had to commiserate with those around me, and maybe that would help. When we in the self-ascension, yoga of self-ascension, they call that partners in pain. When somebody is really in deep fear, you jump in and say, oh yeah, yeah. Or if they're just really in a bad space and hate the world and all of that, you can be present and witness. But to agree and go into that energy is enabling, and it keeps them a victim, and it keeps you in a lower vibration. And so, for myself to be able to hold joy and not feel guilty about it, to be an artist and, you know, um, to be an artist and be abundant with that, to be a healer and be abundant. There were mixed messages all along the way. I went to a conference, the rights for healing, and who has the rights to the abundance. What is the right to do it? And there were many people there that said you should never ever ever charge money for healing. And this little Korean shaman, she stood up and she said, I don't know what you're talking about. This is what I do. I'm abundantly compensated for this. And the messages, like the starving artist and the healer that doesn't take any money, exchange of energy is really important. And you cannot solve the world starvation by starving yourself. You cannot solve world anger and hatred by emanating and radiating anger and hatred. You cannot change it at anything at that level of consciousness. And so the consciousness of joy and creativity is where we're going, where we're lifting into, to be able to hold the joy even in challenging circumstances. So it for the summer solstice, I just returned from the Yucatan, and that trip was very challenging and joyous and expansive and incredible. Incredible miracles came forward. I was called to go and really had no idea what would happen except that I had deep remembering, soul remembering, which brought joy and kind of spurred me on. When I got the call that I really need to go, I signed up thinking, oh my God, I know I need to go, but wow, what's unfolding? And I had dreams before I left. I had recognitions and remembering of Mayan energy, and it brought me all the way back full circle to at least 30 years ago when I was really connected and started opening and learning about the Maya and connecting to the temples there and doing shamanic journey and going to ascension portals. And the observatory was one of those. And when we went to the temple on the second day in the Yucatan, it was called Mayapan, and it was a star observatory. But more than that, it was so many things. It was a most extraordinary, beautiful energy. It was very peaceful, but stepping on the land, it was quiet and peaceful, but there was a sense of joy, and that was a soul memory for me. It was a remembering of returning to a place that I have been. And I've had many of those on my journey and travels around the world of being in places that activated my DNA and reminded me of the joy and why I came here and what I'm doing here. Um, when I've followed those promptings, I have always experienced miraculous things, always. Even when I was afraid and I had no idea, I went forward and did it anyway. And things that unfolded were incredible. So in the Yucatan, the first day we went to Chichen Itza. I went with a group of women, Shri and Kira from Tosa Blue Mountain, and a group of women. There were 20 of us, and we went to celebrate and open an ascension portal in a property that is Tosa Blue Mountain, and the Shri and Kira are opening their healing center, and will construct a pyramid of peace like they're doing in Tosa Blue Mountain in Ecuador right now. But we went there first to connect into various different pyramids and sacred sites. And the first one was Chichen Itza. And, the incredible temples, the beautiful carvings, the jaguar platform. I mean, there were many things that sparked me. Yet that first day, the energy was less than we thought. And it literally was kind of like a carnival, kind of like it wasn't a sacred site anymore. It was a tourist attraction, and there, the thought, the expression, the money changers in the temple, the energy of greed and fear, and they wouldn't let us go near, and they wouldn't let us. We got in a group hug, and they didn't want that we were showing love. It was very telling, that first journey when we went to this sacred site. The energy there was not being revered and respected and had lost its frequency. And that was a very telling thing for all of us. The beauty and what was once there had been desecrated in some respect. And as we walked through, when the clouds started to gather more and more, and finally, it just started to pour rain. And it was so appropriate because we actually got a tremendous cleansing, that we were being prepared. And it was challenging because we sat for hours and hours in wet clothes, and just the journey, and no one complained. It was really fascinating. We all were soaking wet and rather cold, and yet we went and had our lunch cheerfully and had conversation the best we could, And by the time we got back to the hotel, we were really soaking wet. Um, but the cleansing and the power of that first day of releasing. And when we stepped into Mayapan the next day, this beautiful star observatory, my heart exploded. And we were there with a guide who proceeded in the beginning to tell us, give us kind of a tour. And there was a moment when one of the women there, Jess Jutinen, she turned to the guide and she said, I think we need some time to just open, and let ourselves be on this site. And he acquiesced and let go. And from there, my heart was like blasting open. I felt I just wanted to run and be on the earth. But being there and opening to the joy, the energy of it, the remembrance was really incredible. And so it was a reminder. We were there holding sacred intention to align with the energies. And so ensoulments came through Kira, Master Lady Kira Ra. They discovered a beautiful priestess temple that was not uncovered, that was still there. The energy of multidimensional portals there, that we have access to, but that have been long forgotten. That whole entire site was very pristine in many ways because no one was there. And gratefully, thankfully, it didn't have the energy of the tourist attraction. And so we went and chanted in the observatory and then went on a big platform and danced it out and opened our joy and explored and tuned in and brought with us the energy of that sacred site. So incredible. The next day was on solstice, actually, the summer solstice 2022. And then the next day we went to Lobe, which was the opening of their new energy with Cesar, who is the rightful Mayan chief, who has stepped back out and into ceremony. And we did ceremony there and opened a portal for healing. So it is my great joy to be in that creation joy force, to be in that creational energy of joy. That's a different energy than the giddy joy, for a momentary, which is absolutely wonderful. But to tap into soul joy is what it's all about. And for me, many, many, many years, early part of my life, I had moments of joy. I remember times when I had that momentary energy of joy, and I wanted that back. I wanted that connection. And as I have been in this journey over the last years, slowly but surely opening like a beautiful flower, the heart opening, clearing away trauma, letting go of limitation, changing the way I'm thinking, clearing away all of the old beliefs, and coming to recognize, regaining myself. I've had soul retrievals. I have had countless different ways of clearing, healing journeys, to literally remember myself, to come back into the energy of joy, which is each and every one of us has that, and it's locked within in the soul energy. So, as a shamanic practitioner, as a cosmic being, I created the Cosmic Wisdom Sacred Earth cards through the paintings during that time that, many of these visions came forward from that time during 2020 and 2022, where the paintings and the energies and this painting behind me, this is the Rainbow Bridge. This is Siwa in, the Pachacuti cross-cultural shamanism tradition, this energy, Kuichi, is the rainbow bridge. And my vision of this, as I had meditated on this, and I kept seeing this energy, this is a multi-dimensional portal here. What I was led to draw and understand, I literally had a meditation and asked questions and was guided very specifically. When I came out of that meditation, I sat down on the bed to get ready to get in the shower, and I went out for hours. And I know that I went into another dimension, but when I came out, I remembered this image and drew it immediately. And as I put these together, these portals are really a powerful energy. They are the many portals that we have here on this earth. The Chicana at the bottom, the energy here. If you see this here at the bottom, this right here, there's a portal below this, and then as it rises up through, this activates the sacred flames and the crystalline energies that rise up. And Siwara Coenti in that particular shamanic tradition is the hummingbird. And this one is the rainbow. It actually came from a photograph of a midnight hummingbird, which has rainbow colors. And so I was so inspired by the bringing all of this together, because the portals, the rainbow bridge, is more than just a concept. It is an energy. It is actually it's a portal, a frequency. It's an energy. It is sound to me. Each one of the colors vibrates with sound and energy. This is one of the cards in my quantum healing deck, and I am still almost there, but still creating the class and the teaching that'll go with all of these cards. That will be a journey and an exploration in all of these energies multidimensionally, to tap into the portals and tap into where you are in the moment and the joy. In many traditions, the hummingbird is the energy of joy, that when it comes around, it is a reminder of a joy in the moment, the great beauty, the tremendous beauty. Now, I know when I see hummingbirds, I am just fascinated of the miracle of that creature, that winged one that flies, that so incredible, and sometimes very comical, because when they're chasing each other and they fly through and quite near you, it's like, and that makes me laugh, So when I'm present and when I'm appreciating and I am paying attention, many messages come from all the realms around, of the great beauty, of the miracle of this moment, of creation energy, of, and summer reminds me of that too. And so, beauty is joy, and joy is really, really important. It is a creational energy. It whatever brings you joy. I remember going to a concert one time, and it was really everyone was sitting very quietly in their seats, and the performance, it was a play performance, and everyone was sitting very quietly in their seats. And when they started to sing, I couldn't help it. I jumped up and started dancing, and the people around me were like, "Yeah, let's go, come on!" And we all danced, and to not be embarrassed, and that might look crazy, and people might look at you like, "Oh my God," but crazy, you know, crazy is when you let yourself go. It's as was said by someone. Crazy is off track. And when you're off track, it's not predictable. And you're in expansion and you're in joy and you're in creation energy. When you're in stress and fear and you're tight and you're limiting and you're trying to control, and that's what is happening on the planet. They control to stay the same. The energy that is just causing us a lockdown. We have energy that is happening through what some call the temper tantrum of the control mechanisms out there that are seeking to keep us limited and keep us in a very old energy, in control and controlled through fear and limitation. And those of us that are just crazy enough to say, forget that, I'm playing, I'm dancing, and to do that, and dance and sing like no one is watching, to just let yourself go. That is an expansionary energy, and to allow your soul to express, that's joy, that's creation. So often when I'm in studio, I listen to music that, all different kinds of music. And there are some that just take me deep into a very deep, quiet, contemplative type of space. And other music, then I change it. And other music, it just, I feel like I'm skating again and I'm flying, and the energy of that is so powerful. One time I was on Cape Cod and I was moving through a really, really kind of sad time. I was doing a lot of healing. I was rollerblading at that time, and I rollerbladed down to the beach, and there was a parking lot there that I would go after hours. I would go and rollerblade there and be by the ocean. And I would put music on and I would just dance and allow myself to just open and express. And I found music that just let me fly. And those are the things that got me through the hardest moments. And that one day I had been skating and just having an amazing time. And I stopped to rest. And a gentleman came up behind me and he said, "Excuse me." And I turned around and he offered me the most beautiful red flower. I believe it was a dahlia or something like that. It was the most extraordinary thing because he offered me this and he said, "That was so beautiful. I can't hear the music, what you were dancing to, but that was amazing. Thank you for that." And, the beauty that we radiate out, what comes back from that, just out of sheer joy and love, what comes back is miracle energy. Because as we are radiating and expanding our joy and love, only the reflection of that comes back. And so that is what helps the world. That is what brings and elevates us and lifts us into a place as we all hold that energy, no matter what is going on. No matter what is going on. So important, So I know that there are times when I have needed it and I turned around and somebody flashed the most amazing smile. You never know how you will affect people. You never know that whoever in that moment might have really needed a smile from you or a hug or saw a beautiful piece of art that you created or bit into the most incredible bread that you just baked that was filled with love and joy and passion. So you are a creator being, a creative being. Creation, creativity, 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 creativity. That energy of creation is expansive. And we are in a critical moment now where the timelines are calling us to hold that frequency and be in creation energy. We are needed right now on this planet to hold that energy and to keep stable and absolutely focused. in the creation joy, in the up level, in the vision for the future, which is beauty and light. We are needed, so needed. And so, being with a group of women in the energy of change and shift through the pyramids and the Yucatan and all of the frequencies that were going on, and some of the 5G things that were happening there that were so toxic that we had no idea. For us to be able to navigate through that, no matter what the challenge was, and hold joy and be in ceremony and open portals, that's what we're doing now. To whatever it is that you do that brings joy, whatever it is that you do that opens and expands the energy, do it. Join together with people that are uplifted, that are holding that energy, because it's really, really important. We have a date, July 13th, if you're seeing this in real time right now, today, on the 8th of July, 2022. Next week, July 13th, is a really powerful, powerful portal and timeline. We're needed to come together as lineage holders. If you're called, go to shriandkira.com and look on that website for the global meditation for that moment, because it's really important that we come together, link arms, to jump the timelines, to really hold the energy, because there is a lot that is pulling us away from where we can be going. There, as you know, on the planet, everything that's happening right now, the things that are getting your attention, is that helping, or is it making you feel worse? Be in joy. Join us. Join us in that global meditation, so that as we all come together, and spread the word if you can, shriandkira.com, go to the global meditation, July 13th. There are a few other time jumps that are important as well. Go look and see it. Make sure that you're there. It's a donation. It helps, we're together, what they're coining the phrase of global minga, that we are a community, a global community now, and we're needed to come together and work together and cooperate in joy and creativity and expansion. Help each other up, lift up, help each other when those moments when we feel like we just can't keep going, that we're reminded that the soul knows the joy. The soul is the joy. The soul knows the way. And so when we connect into that, we tap in and are fed and nourished and soothed by that energy. And in that way, we create and hold the vision for everyone else. That is the way we do this. So be in your joy and create whatever it is that you create, whether, you just don't judge that it only is something like painting or music or art. It is the creation energy itself. What are you creating? It could be a beautiful garden. It could be the most amazing business. It could be being with animals and creating a space where they feel safe, baking wonderful bread, whatever it is. Be in that and radiate that, expand that energy out, and see how that affects the people around you. I know for myself that when I see people who are smiling and in joy, I am amazed. And it's a reflection, a reminder that we can hold that presence and stay steady in that. So thank you all who are here, all who have contributed to my joy, who have at times never knew it, but gave me that look of joy, look of love, that what I needed to shore me up. Together we are better, and we must do this together. So I honor and am so grateful that you're here listening. If you want more support, if you need support, if you are in a place where you are not in joy and are needing help, there are many of us around. Go to my website, marimendoza.com. Shoot me an email, mari@marimendoza.com. Tune in, find what you need. Get the support you need, because as we are, know this, as we are going through cleansing, as we are releasing family patterns and generational imprinting, things may come up that are not even yours. And I see this a lot with my clients. People are carrying energies that come from prior generations. You can clear that. You don't have to carry that around. Let yourself expand and open into the joy of who you are. I honor your light and beauty. Tremendous love. That's all for me now. Much gratitude. Bye for now.